So we've got the shadows, the light on them looking okay. If I could spend some more time hitting the highlights and shadows on these pants, especially his don't look particularly good. Some more, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to move on. Alright, let's take a look at our next steps. So, refining further, small adjustments, adding small amounts of light and details. That's what we normally would do to get really good in here on their lighting, adding shadows and highlights to faces and things like that. But we're going to take it to step 10. We are going to do the sharpening, color grading, overlaying of colors. So we're back here again. We need to take a look at, okay, what's going on with the light around them? How do I get this spill of light that's happening over his shoulder here and over her shoulder there? How do I get this fog that's going on in the background there? How do I get these little pieces of what we call bokeh, the circular dots of light? How do I get them to lay in here? So we're going to do that now. So first thing I want to be concerned with is these bits of light that are coming around their shoulders. That's going to make it look like they're more part of the background. I'm going to click on a new layer. We're going to call this shoulder light. Okay, I'm going to grab my paintbrush tool. I'm going to take a look at the size of the light source. We're going to paint with a white there because that's pretty much white light. As I look around at the colors of the light, we've got some blue specks of light here. We've got some yellows. This is rainbow over here, so I don't really want to deal with that. So blues and yellows are kind of the types of light that I see. So when I look in here, I definitely don't want red. I can come to the yellows and oranges, and I might kind of make it a light yellow. Definitely don't want it, pure white could work. I'm going to make it a light yellow. I definitely don't want it a dark yellow. I'm going to continue to kind of paint on, well, I'm going to go for about 70% on my brush. I'm going to start with a small brush to kind of hit that main point of light right there where it's spilling onto his jacket. Kind of hit that twice there. I'm going to hit her hair there a little bit. Hit that twice. Now I want an even bigger dot to kind of get that bleed coming over there. Okay, there's that dot of light. I'm going to hit by his face, her hair. I'm going to take a look at some of these bits of light kind of around their clothing. And that's going to add in some highlights around them. Maybe even a little bit of light coming through the center of them there. Okay, so I've hit kind of all around them. And then they do have these tiny little streaks of light. So I'm going to go to actually a fairly small brush now. And I'm going to use a flow of about, let's call, or an opacity of about, let's say 50% here. There we go, 50%. Got these small little streaks of light. And they travel in a straight line. So let me tell you how to draw a straight line here. I'm going to click once. Actually, let's go ahead and make this a little bit of a angled brush. And I'm going to change that angle to travel the direction that I'm traveling. There we go. So I'm going to click once there. That starts the line. I'm not going to click and drag because it's hard to draw a straight line. I'm just going to come in a straight line. Whoops, messed up. There we go. Click once. That's it. I'm going to move out here to there. Hold down the shift key. And it's going to draw a straight line from there to there. Point A to point B. By holding down the shift key, it actually connects the two lines. Right? I'm going to change the angle of my brush again. This time I'm going to kind of come off in that direction there. So I'm going to take that one, maybe a little bit shorter ray. That looks nice. Take the angle of the brush again. Let's kind of come straight down here. Click once, hold down the shift key. Again. Nice, so those are coming over the top of him. They don't look great right now. They kind of definitely look fake. I'm going to grab some and come off of her here. This time we're going to come off. Yeah, I'm going to take the straight down one. Come this way. Boom. Shift key held down always. Change the angle of my brush coming in that direction. Shorter one. Perfect. Again, coming in that direction, we're going to go shift, click a little bit longer one. That looks great. And then we're going to come sideways here. So let's get this back to the angle of. Set my angle perfectly here. I'm going to make it 0. There we go. Straight across with a short one off her, straight across, short one off him. Those look great. Okay. So, this is the light coming over their shoulders. I'm going to blur it a little bit because those don't look super realistic. I'm going to use my Gaussian blur again. That's too much. Too little. Put it about 10, see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I blurred it. And now we're going to play with the opacity a little bit. Take that down. We're going to change this from normal to screen. Good. Mix the colors again. That looks alright. Okay. Let's get our brush back to normal here. Expand that out to circular. Okay, we're going to add, so that's the shoulder lights. We're going to add some bokeh now. Bokeh is actually spelled B-O-K-E-H. Bokeh. And if you look at the bokeh that's back here, it's fairly hard edge. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to crank the hardness up to about 80. There we go. I'm going to take my color. I'm actually going to sample one of these light blues out here. Let's see what that light blue looks like. That one. That's darker. Let's go lighter. Let's take this light blue there. That looks great. Okay, and I'm going to copy the size of this. Maybe a little bit bigger because it's actually closer to them. That looks good right about there. So my brush size is 800 right now. My opacity on my brush, 50% is fine. I can play with it a little bit later. I'm going to come over her leg. So I'm following this line that the light is traveling off of. I'm going to come over her leg a little bit. So there's that. This line is coming off here. I'm going to come over his leg just a little bit higher, cover that part. Okay, so we've got those dots of light. They're a little bit intense for my taste. Let's see what it looks like with the screen. That may be too much light and looks pretty good. And we're going to pull the opacity back to about 80%. All right. So that looks really good. Okay, our next step that we need to do is add that atmospheric fog that we see around there. And that's where we need to download a Photoshop brush. So we're going to come into Google Chrome. We're going to do a search for fog brush Photoshop. There we go. There's Brush Easy, free fog brushes. Exactly what we need. So 93 different downloads. I like to choose fog number 2 right here. That should allow me to do my free downloads. I'm going to go ahead and do that. They're trying to sell me stuff again. Close that. There we go. My download actually started. Perfect. There it is. I'm going to expand that. Okay. Creates that ABR, Adobe Brush. That's what I want. This was the original zipped file. Throw that in the trash right away. There we go. Okay, so I'm done with Brush Easy. I'm going to come back to Photoshop. Make sure my brush tool is selected. I'm coming up here to my brushes, and on the right hand side you should see this little gear icon. That's what we're looking for. We're going to come down to import brushes. That should bring up a Finder window right there. I downloaded it to my downloads folder. There's my free fog brush, and I'm going to open it. Alright, so I just imported those brushes, which means that they show up in a separate folder right here. Okay, you can always look at some special effects. They have splatter brushes, all kinds of stuff, wet media, things that look like you're painting with ink, things like that, dry media, okay, pencils, things like that. We're painting with fog. I think I chose the third one down here. Now, one of the challenges with these particular brushes, when I zoom back out, is that I can actually see a straight edge on them, and that looks terrible. So you need to be careful about that. Luckily for me, if I keep increasing the brush size to 5,000, okay, that's 5,000. It should go off the screen. Let me zoom out a little bit here so I can see it. There it is. Okay. I don't know if that's the one I wanted. We'll check it later. I need a new layer. So we currently have the bokeh layer. Now I want the fog layer. There we go. The fog should be white, so I'm going to crank it to white. Don't like that fog brush, so I'm going to come back here and check what number 2 looks like. Maybe number 1. No, it's definitely number 2. That's the one I want. Okay. So I'm going to crank it to 5,000. There it is. And I'm just going to click once like a rubber stamp. Okay? And that adds like a little fog layer. I can try to add some more by clicking again. That makes it pretty thick. So I'm going to zoom back in and see what that looks like. It's a little excessive. So we're going to pull the opacity back here. Maybe screen this a little bit. There we go. Pull the opacity back until we're happy with how they're blending into the background. Alright, so at 67% opacity, it looks not bad. I could pull it back some more if it's still a little excessive. Maybe 50%. Try that. That looks pretty good. So now they look like they fit within this background and seem to be standing on there. The next step is going to be to begin adding the graphics for the poster. So we're going to go ahead and stop this video and we'll go to the next video for graphics.